Okay guys, I'm reviewing and unboxing the Panasonic DVX AG200. So basically, it's our 4/3 sensor size camera here. Something that I was weighing up very carefully, whether I go something like a Sony FS5, a Canon C100, or one of these guys. Now, a couple of reasons why I steered away from the C100. I think it's now 2016, late 2016, so it's December, and I think the C100's been around a little bit long, and it's only, it's only 1080 high definition. Whereas of course 4K seems to be what's going to be happening in the years to come. So that was kind of what knocked out the C100. Having said that, incredible camera, being a Super 35mm sensor. This is a 4/3 inch, which isn't too far off a Super 35. You can look up exactly the difference between a 4/3 sensor, which is just underneath the Super 35. Then I looked at the Sony FS5, which obviously has the interchangeable lens. I think it's an incredible camera, but it's a little bit more of a setup TV style shoot, or a documentary where it's a little bit more set up and things are a little bit slower and you have time to do things. So plus obviously the price point of $8,500 US, or thereabouts, with a lens kit and all the rest of it. Don't quote me exactly on pricing, but here in Australia that would hit it around about the $9,500 thereabouts, give or take. But the big thing with that, of course, is it really stretches your budget out, and you have to really consider what you're going to do with your camera. If you've never really shot commercials professionally, if you haven't shot a documentary full-time professionally, I think the reality is that you're probably better off steering more towards a camera like this. Now, I've done some tests with an incredible app, and I'll tell you what it is because it's actually quite an amazing. So here's the thing. I went out and got this camera. I also got it with a Sound Devices audio production accessory here. It's an XL BNC, so it's a time code cable. So I can run that from say a Zoom F8 BNC connector out, make the F8 the master, make this the slave. That way we run time code into the camera, and we can have separate audio as well as have camera audio. So we can have the camera running pro audio, but we can also have a Zoom F8 running some other audio as well. That might include things like lavalier mics and everything else, especially if there's lots of people. So that was something I purchased. Another thing I was told by the guy that sold it to me, of course, was you need these Panasonic 64 gig is the highest you can get at the moment. But apparently there's a deal that when you buy the camera, you can get the Panasonic SD cards, which don't have any issues in terms of dropping frames. I think other SD cards, including SanDisk, have problems, and so you've got to be aware of that. So I went ahead and purchased these for $150 US, thereabouts, $143 Australian, and I bought two of them so I can obviously hot swap. So when one's full, the second one starts filling up. The first one is removed. Obviously you take the video off it, put it back in, and then of course you clean everything off it, and then obviously you hot swap. But put simply, they are the ones that seem to give you no issues. Alright, enough of that. So that's just some of the accessories I got straight out of the get-go. We might as well open this up now. So that's it there, basically. That's the box of it. So the other thing to look at now is to bear in mind that, like I said earlier, it's only the wide angle that seems to be the slight issue with a camera like this. So that's about it. Other than that, you're not going to really have a problem. So, like I said, you're better off using DSLRs around the camera. I've seen one of the workflows is that you use a GH4 DSLR camera because it's got the same similar sensor, and you can use wide angle lenses on that. So your GH4 covers the wide angle of 15mm to say 35, and then this can cover everything else. So that's the good news. Alright, so what do we got here? We've got some warranties. 12-month warranty from date of purchase. That's kind of cool. Let's have a look. So in the box, I'm assuming we're going to see a couple of things here that are helpful. Camera strap, obviously power supply. I'm not going to go in and open everything, but we can see here that we can obviously have a charger. Now I've heard that the charge lasts quite a while, but that's the power to give us the charge. So that basically means then, obviously that's the power supply, I'm assuming, to either power the camera or either power the charger, which I doubt it. I think this would actually power the camera. So there's your AC mains for the camera. The two of these, okay, same thing there. The strap, we've seen the eye cup holder. I'm sorry, the eyepiece eye cup. Now, just so you know, obviously I think it's well known now, but it's well documented, but the camera obviously has a sensor built into the eye cup so that when you look over the top of the eye cup, it cuts out the LCD and vice versa. And obviously the fix for that, I think it was Barry Green had covered that quite clearly. You lift the eye cup up position and that just cuts out the eye cup completely and shuts it off. Now, one of the reasons why that has probably been built into the camera, people are wondering why that's there, is because people in the past have been known to have eye cups facing up, the sun's hitting the lens and damaging internal components. What exactly they did, I'm not 100% sure, but that's the danger, is that people are leaving eye cups straight up at the sun. Sun just does the damage, and that's why it shuts off. That's why it was built to be shut off, okay? So we've got that, and this of course is the front of the shotgun mic. So we've got that, so that's your shotgun mic holder, and of course we've got a couple of little XLR protectors, which I'm thinking you better tie those down because they'll go missing pretty quickly. So you might want to have a little bit of a thing there to make sure they don't go missing. Okay, so that's the first part of that. We can see that that's obviously standard, nothing too special there. Okay, full instructions. Now once again, you probably want to read through these, you see what you can get out of it, but the reality is that you would instead have a look at Barry Green, so that's a full instruction manual there. But you'd probably want to look at the Barry Green series where he goes right through how the camera really does work and some of the things that he'd learnt over 6 months of using the camera. Some software here, probably a good idea not to lose that. And it looks like it's a memory card recorder. Okay, so we'll have to look at what that's all about. No idea. I think that's operating instructions, but then it's got on the disk memory card recorder. Anyway, alright, so let's unbox this little guy. And we can see we've got anti-static, so hopefully you haven't got any static electricity on you. Might want to make sure that you don't, but that's it pretty much. That's the box done and dusted. That's the official unboxing of my new DVX 200. Now the first thing that people go through when they look at the camera, I'm assuming you've seen what this camera is all about in terms of everything else it does. A lot of guys have covered exactly how it works. In terms of my initial impression, in terms of build quality, don't drop it. I'm assuming that's probably the smartest piece of advice right there, isn't it? Now, the big thing as well, initial setup, I would assume, go get yourself a, I think it's 67mm neutral density filter to protect the lens. So that coating there, go get yourself a 67mm neutral density filter, put that straight on there, and that's going to protect it. But that's cool. We did a little bit of an unboxing. Obviously I'll do future videos of how I've actually gone out and used the camera and everything I've done with it. I know that there's plenty of videos out there on how this camera actually works and what to do with it. So I'll obviously cover it when I've got out there and used it myself. But one of the things I might look out for here is the time code. And I'm assuming I can just get to that quite quickly. So this is the time code preset in out. That's my BNC connector where I can use that cable that I showed you earlier from the sound devices. So that'll plug into there. Can also plug into my Zoom F8. Alright, cool. Cheers for watching. That's pretty much the camera out of the box, ready to rock and roll. We'll talk some more when I actually get a chance to set it up and go through some of the things with it. Cheers for watching.